I'm Natalia Loback, and this is Change Course. Connect and change. In the last few episodes, we've talked about organizations as systems, and we walked through the application and different elements of complex adaptive systems into our thinking about organizational models like workplace organizations, corporations, communities, families, and all sorts of organizations that we interact with in our work and daily lives. When I started out in change many years ago, one of the things that I thought was so powerful was just how being intentional and focused around bringing about the results that you desire is one of the most powerful and positive things about intentional change. As I started working even more with stakeholder-driven organizations with a lot of complexity, I started to see that there were some gaps in the traditional change approaches. And so I started to develop my own methodology and approach called connected change. And the ethos and the idea behind connected change is that we can take that organizational model and that org structure and layer on top of it the understanding of the complex adaptive system that exists within any organization that involves humans. Because humans are social organisms. We are social beings. We strive and thrive on human connection. We make sense of our world through our connections and our relationships. And in fact, I truly believe that the strongest organizations are the ones that foster and encourage these rich connections. The amazing thing that I've found is that while you have the organization, which exists primarily to deliver value, you also have this complex adaptive system that is layered within and around, providing this organizational context. So when we approach change using the connected change methodology, we do so in two parts. The first is your traditional approach through looking at the operating model. And the operating model elements that we typically work with are organizational design, value. So what are the values that the organization is there to produce? The design being the way the organization is structured. So the positions, departments, your box and line diagram, how that all works. Then you layer on top of that the process. So you look at what is happening in the organization and how things get done. You also look at governance, so the way decisions are made and managed. We look at technology because so many of our organizations are technology driven now. And we also look at digital and data. So the last two pieces really go together, and you need to look at your technology, your digital, and your data all together. Inside that operating model, you've got your vision, your mission, objectives, and strategy driving that forward. And then on the inside, you're always looking at innovation, continuous improvement, and performance management. That's really about how the organization functions. But the people on top of that, how things get done, the context of that organization, is again another layer that we put on top. And this is the layer where change happens. So when you're looking at implementing change, you want to really understand that organizational context such that you can make changes inside that operating model that are going to support and sustain that change. For example, if you are, let's say, introducing a new product or a new service line into an organization, you want to use those strong pieces in your operating model, like your organizational design and your process, to support that change going forward. But the connected change piece really addresses the relationships, the interconnections, and that emotional journey of change that the people and the groups within your organization are going to go through. So as we go through this podcast, we will touch on connected change at different points. The purpose of this podcast change course is not to talk about connected change all the time, but I will bring it in to different places. And I will also talk about the different elements in connected change. There are 5 elements that we pay special and close attention to as we're understanding this complex adaptive system of people and relationships that exist inside, around, outside that organization. And I say that because your system of relationships can include the people in your organization, but they can also include stakeholders, key stakeholders outside your organization and within that broader context. The 5 elements are culture. So understanding what that organizational culture is, how it functions, the good, the bad, how it's impacted by your operating model and enabled as well, and how those things go together. Culture also takes into account your leadership orientation and how leaders perceive and act within the organization. Power and influence. So linking with things like your organizational design and your governance models inside your organization, power and influence actually goes beyond to look at who are those individuals or groups within the organization that hold exceptional power and influence, that goes beyond what is structured and mandated within your organizational model. Politics has to do with how things happen. And, we all know that organizational politics exist everywhere. You can never have an apolitical organization when you have humans involved. That's just part of who we are and how we operate. So understanding politics and how that works inside your organization is really important in order to bring about sustainable change. History and stories are the last 2, and these often go together. So understanding the history of the organization, where it came from, where it's going, and the stories that we tell around success, failure, who are the heroes in our organization, how did they persevere, and what are the characteristics of those stories. These become tools that then we use to make change meaningful in the context that we're working in. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about connected change and how I approach change and do things a little bit differently. At different points in the Change Course podcast, we'll touch on connected change, but we're going to talk about broader issues and other things. So if you want to learn more, check out www.charthouse.ca, and also stay tuned because we will be launching a specific home for connected change at connectedchange.com, and there you'll be able to find tools and resources as well as some learning about how to use connected change and how you can better leverage these complex systems of relationships that really drive and enable change in organizations. I hope you found this helpful, and stay tuned for more as we unpack connected change on future episodes. And I hope that this can help you understand how connected change layers on top of understanding the structures and operating models of organizations and how those two pieces work together. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, I invite you to like, share, rate, and subscribe because it helps others find us. You can find our show notes on our website at www.charthouse.ca, where each episode has a page under the Change Course podcast. So anything that I referenced in today's episode will be posted there so you can find it. While you're visiting us, sign up for the Change Navigator newsletter. You'll get a monthly dispatch of all things change, what we're working on, and our latest research. Our music is Levity by Emily Klassen. Change Course is available wherever you listen to podcasts. We also have an accessible version on YouTube with fully edited captions. You can find the link to our YouTube channel in the show notes. Thank you again for listening. And remember, it's never too late to change course.